you see anything? No, not yet. Wait, where's the crew? Alex! Alex! You nailed it. Oh no! We're going down, Des. Don't forget to... Susie! Susie! Oh no! That was so much deeper than everyone else. That was great. That was awesome. Alrighty, we did it. We survived parasailing. That was super cool.
I did it.
Des, were you scared?
You
seemed a little uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, you were doing your unclips. Max wouldn't sit still.
I was having a lot of fun. Well, it was cool being up there, but not having to like be in charge of myself. Like I didn't have to like control the parasailing.
He was wiggling and he was like testing out the clips that were, you know, suspending him from
leaning backwards.
The life. He was making jokes about Jurassic Park when they disappeared and died.
She was a little stressed. I mean, when we first started dating, this is what we did. We would get in the Toyota Tacoma, an older one, and we would just drive around. We recently did a video where Des and I talked about how many things we broke. Everything we broke in the past 5 years of this Toyota Tacoma. And in that video, I was very adamant to say that they're awesome trucks. I just keep buying them. But I didn't really go into too much detail about why I keep buying them and how many I've had. You remember?
Yeah, I remember.
First truck was a white Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road. And I mowed lawns for like 3 years to be able to buy that truck. And
then he went off to boot camp and spent every penny that he had.
Not every penny.
Every penny when he got back so that he could lift the truck.
I spent half my enlistment bonus on the truck and the other half on this bad boy right here. You see that? You see that, guys? That's commitment right there.
Did you?
50-50.
No, we were early. You did not buy my wedding ring.
I saved. Like.
You did?
Yeah. I saved like $6,000.
Aww.
Of the 20,000, but then they tax you, so it was a little less than half. Sorry. Before we get too deep into it, I want to go for a drive and get somewhere else. We're like next to some farmers.
I was still in high school.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Well, I didn't know for sure if I was going to marry you. I just thought I should be prepared. Finally, dirt roads is what we're looking for. Growing up, my neighbor had a Toyota truck, and I thought that was the coolest thing. So I think that was like the first influence I had for Toyotas. And that's probably how it starts for most people. But I had the white Toyota Tacoma. Eventually wanted something bigger. I wanted like the 4-door. I just wanted something new, I think. And we got a 2nd gen, and the 2nd gen was awesome. It was a manual transmission. Woo, it's bumpy. I should air down. It's pretty rough. After that, naturally we ended up getting the 3rd gen, and it's always worked for us. The thing that I like about these little trucks is that they're not too much of anything. They're not too big. They're not overly powerful. You can kind of tuck them away back into little roads and do exactly what we like to do, which is sort of like touring and exploring and kind of finding the unbeaten path, I suppose. And I think that's what Toyotas are so great for. Finally getting up into some really awesome, like scenic backcountry stuff. And Des, do you remember when we saw all those like mountain chickens up here?
Mountain chickens?
Do you remember the mountain chickens?
No.
Oh, well, there's like mountain chickens, there's mountain goats, there's really cool stuff. And Desiree likes to get stressed out when we do cliff driving, so that's always fun. But when we get up here, I'll probably do a little walk around of the truck and kind of show you guys what I've done to this truck since I got it. This was really the first truck that I really did any serious modifications on. I was never really a car guy before this truck. I wasn't really into like working on vehicles, and I was always kind of intimidated. But just sort of the passion for Toyotas and wanting to, I don't know, express myself through this truck sort of taught me so much. And it's really taken us a lot of cool places. Look at where we are now. Look at this. So this kind of stuff, what we're doing is exactly what the Toyota Tacoma was built for. It's not the most rugged off-roading truck in the world unless you go really, really crazy with the modifications. It's not a Jeep, you know, it's not a full-size truck. It is the perfect adventure vehicle for getting outside, exploring, and seeing the outdoors. And you know, every once in a while you run into a little trouble, and the truck is great for that kind of stuff. It kind of gets you through. But yeah, like our thing is, and it's always been our thing, is to just go driving and just have fun in the hills and have a reliable vehicle that we know will get us out if we run into trouble.
Which we always seem to do.
Which we're good at finding trouble. It's just like a driving experience. To me, it's no different than like a car that's built for touring, you know? Those cars are purpose-built for long distance cruising. They're fast and sporty. This truck's kind of the same way, you know, it's sporty, it's agile, it's got, you know, good suspension, it's the right size, it's not too big. It is, for us, I mean, I'm pretty tall and so is Des, so it's a little cramped once you start putting kids in the back seat, but you know, there was a time we didn't have kids, and that's sort of the time that we had a Toyota Tacoma. It's so quiet up here. So when I first built the Tacoma, I built it for exactly this, kind of cruising up into the hills, finding neat spots that you otherwise wouldn't have reached, and going and exploring. So we found this little spot here. There's a cool trail up that way that we'll go explore. But first, I'll do a quick walk around of the truck and show you guys, because Des has reminded me that it's been a while since I've really shown the truck, and if you're new to the channel, or you know, maybe my videos were outdated, not the same, yeah, it might be worthwhile to kind of give you guys a quick little rundown on the truck. And ooh, does it look good? Look at this. I do declare. That is a cool tree, isn't it?
Yeah, look at all that sap.
It looks like it just could burst into flames so quickly and easily.
Yeah. So cool.
I'm here to tell you about my Tacoma today. Yeah, it's come a long ways. If you've been watching the channel for a while, this thing's had a lot of different versions. And part of that to me is that like every time I sort of reinvent the truck, it's the same truck, but it's new and exciting, and it keeps me, I don't know, it keeps me entertained with building it. And so we used to have a canopy on the back, and the canopy had a Prinsu rack, and then on top of the Prinsu rack was a Free Spirit Rec tent. And I really liked that setup for camping. But the reason we moved away from that was just because the kids were out of control in the back seat, because there wasn't enough space. And there wasn't really, like when you have kids and one of them's in diapers, there wasn't a whole lot of storage capacity for them. Now that they're out of car seats and they're on booster seats, we're kind of experimenting with that on this trip, and it's been a lot better. So I'm considering putting a bed rack back on this truck and then a rooftop tent again, and then getting back into coming out to places like this and camping. Of course, the Raptor is a little better for long distance trips, just a little smoother, has a little bit better gas mileage. But when it comes to getting out in the hills, the driving experience when you're out in this kind of area, it's a lot more fun in the Tacoma, because I'm not worried about going down tight little spots. I'm not really worried about getting stuck because we have a winch. And so right now, this iteration of the build is really, really cool. I'm really pleased with it. I like it a lot. One of the first things I bought for the truck was this aluminum CBI off-road fab bumper. I chose aluminum because it's lightweight and we were using this for overlanding, and I wanted to be able to carry a winch. That's one of the best modifications you can do is put a winch on the truck. If you're gonna come out to places like this, I mean, we have no cell service right now. There's not gonna be a soul around for miles. If we were to fall into a ditch while we were doing some of that silly driving back there, I'm pretty confident that with the winch and the box full of extrication tools in the bed of the truck, we can get ourselves out. So it makes us a lot more self-reliant, which is a key component to overlanding, unless you always want to go overlanding with other people. But Des and I, we're both kind of a little antisocial sometimes, so.
I'm not antisocial.
You're so antisocial.
No, I'm a butterfly.
A lot of people ask me about the hood. The hood is fiberglass. It has these push-style fiberglass hood pins. It's super lightweight. It's made by Roadrunner fiberglass. This truck is a TRD off-road, and I really wanted the hood scoop, but I also wanted all of the other components that the off-road came with. And so I ended up opting to buy a fiberglass hood, and I painted it myself, which is a ton of work. So I traded out the off-road grill for the TRD Pro grill, which it seems like everybody's doing now, but I love the look of these TRD Pro grills. We have Heritage Studio LED light bars. All the lights on this truck and pretty much all my builds are from Heritage Studios, but I think this is probably the first Heritage Studio light that I ever got, and it's super, super bright, and I love it, and I've had no issues with it. And we kind of moved on to put ambers in the fog light spots here as well. My understanding is that amber helps kind of see through dust and fog pretty well, and then you put your white lights kind of up top, and they're better for just regular visibility at night. So I like having the ambers down low. It just also adds a really cool look to it. The headlights are Alpha Rex headlights from Tacoma Beast website. Underneath we have a steel skid plate from CBI Off-Road Fab, and I talk about this a lot. We went with steel because the aluminum, although being lighter weight, is a little sticky when you get hung up on rocks, so steel slides a little bit better. So when we transitioned away from doing long distance overland trips to more like closer to home adventure exploring and off-roading, I switched all my components to steel except for this bumper. Right now we have 35-inch BFG KM3 mud terrain tires on the truck on Method wheels. The Method wheels, they're not bead locks, they're called bead grips. It's a special technology that they put into the rim or around the bead, and it's supposed to lock the tire in. And so far I've had a lot of really good luck with these. I've been able to air down to about 10 PSI, and I haven't had any trouble with them. So those Methods have been awesome. And you'll notice that the truck is a little bit wider than most trucks. That is due to the McNeil fiberglass flares that I put on here. The wheels and tires are offset a little bit, and that's due to the Baja Kit's +2 long travel kit. Basically, I replaced my upper and lower control arms with boxed upper and lower control arms that are 2 inches wider, which allows the wheels and tires to articulate a little bit more, giving you more suspension, which increases your up and down travel, improves your traction while you're off-road, and allows the truck to tackle some of the bigger stuff. I haven't really been able to tune it to handle whoops. I know it's possible. I would love to get in with a tuner someday and actually get this truck running right. I haven't done it, and so it's really not good at high speed stuff.
Oh, ouch. Bug.
A mosquito.
Motherfucker. Whatever.
Yeah, it's running King suspension front and rear that were custom made for this long travel kit. In the rear, it's running 12-inch shocks with a shock relocation kit from Archive Garage. The truck has been re-geared to be able to handle these larger tires. It has 5.33 gears from Nitro Gear. That was a big move. That was one of the best things I could have possibly done for the truck, and I put it off way too long because I didn't really understand the importance of a re-gear, and it blew my mind how much better the truck was. It actually made the truck really enjoyable to drive again. It made it possible to tow things again. Okay, I recently had the truck tuned with a KD Max tune from a guy on Instagram called P&W Tundra. If you're interested in getting your truck tuned, I definitely suggest him. He did an awesome job, and that made a big difference as well. as far as the driving characteristics, the shift points, the RPMs that it reaches before it shifts. It's so much better, and there's so many different little things that you can tweak on there depending on your driving characteristics. So I definitely recommend the KD Max Tune. Up top we have a roof rack from Prinzu Design Studios. Prinzu is now owned by CBI Off-Road Fab, so two awesome companies, both making really cool stuff. And what I like about the Prinzu rack is it's very modular. They make all sorts of little components that you can add to it to mount, high lift jacks or awnings. They have plates that go in there so that you can mount your max tracks, traction boards, gas cans, all that kind of stuff. And so you can really like do whatever you want with it. It's like an adult Legos kit. It fits all sorts of different lights up in here, but one of the best lights that I think is this Heretic Studio design. Prinzu and Heretic work together, as well as CBI work together so that all the lights would sort of work together with their products. So if you're getting CBI gear, the first place you should look is Heretic Studio, because the openings in the bumpers were designed specifically for Heretic stuff, and a lot of people don't know that. So this light bar from Heretic is insanely bright and really, really awesome, and I believe it's a 40-inch bar. Down here we have CBI Off-Road rock sliders. This was another early modification I did to the truck. If you don't have much of a lift, like this truck's not very tall, it's not like a mud truck, and it's quite long being the 4-door, so you're pretty likely to end up running the truck up and over things. And so having rock sliders allows you to sort of pivot the truck over mounds of dirt or rocks without damaging your rocker panels here. And then you'll see a lot of cars with dents there, and it's because they cheaped out and they didn't get rock sliders. So get the rock sliders before you do that. And what's cool about these rock sliders is they have a kick out. The kick out allows you to position yourself onto a trail. So when you're turning really tight and you're not going to be able to make the trail or make the turn, you put your kick out right on a tree or something, and you can turn, and what it'll do is it'll push the back end out away from the tree and kind of keep you on the trail, which is really cool. The back, same thing. It's McNeil fiberglass flares that I painted myself. I wouldn't recommend painting them yourself. Send them in, have them done. The whole truck right now is pretty haggard. We've had it for going on 6 years, and there's all sorts of little dings and dents, and I think that our cows rubbed up against this thing and scraped all the paint. And so I would love to possibly get it wrapped, or maybe even have it go to a paint booth and have it completely repainted, because I love this truck and I don't ever really want to get rid of it. It's running 1.25" wheel spacers from Spider Tracks, and I've never had a problem with the wheel spacers. Everyone says it makes your bearings go out early. That's like if you got like a big Brodos or a Chevy Duramax and you got like 10 inches of wheel spacer on there. Well then yes, it's putting a lot of stress on your wheel bearings, but something like a 1.25 wheel spacer that's hub centric, that's key. Make sure it's hub centric, not lug centric. Those are pretty reliable and fairly safe, and I have never had problems with them. I just put Loctite on them, check them every once in a while, and you should be good to go. Another awesome product from CBI Off-Road Fab, this is their high clearance rear bumper. Now, what I really love about this bumper is it gets the rear end of the truck up off the ground. So when you're off-roading with a truck that has a truck bed, well then your departure angle is usually pretty bad. You're going to scrape the ass end of your truck over rocks and stuff as you depart from an obstacle. And so to combat that, CBI made a high clearance rear bumper where they take part of the bed of your truck out. You see they cut this here and they put all of this armor way up high. And so instead of having a normal bumper where your bed sides are down to here, you've brought it up a few inches and you've made it angular so that if you do get hung up, you slide off and you're able to keep going. You're not gonna, it's not a sticking point where you're gonna get stuck. And I was able to save a little money on steel, and I was pretty happy with that purchase, because had I gone aluminum, this thing catches, it takes a lot of abuse because it's hard to tell if you're gonna hit something when you're dropping off of it. And so aluminum would have been dented up pretty badly. So my school of thought is, if you're an overlander trying to do long distance stuff and there's a chance that you might hit something and that's why you want protection, then aluminum's a great way to go. If you're like interested and excited about going off-road and you're trying to get into some nasty stuff, then steel is probably the only way to go, because otherwise you'll just destroy your bumper. On the CBI bumper, they've relocated your plugins for your trailer. There's a hidden hitch receiver behind your license plate, which is why this is here. So they've moved your hitch way up high. You have all your tie downs, a spot for your LED light for your license plate, and you have these big, hefty hookup points for towing you out, and I've been yanked out of holes with these, and they're super, super strong. I like the details that they put into it. They put they sort of laser engraved their logo in there, and I really think that CBI is one of the best looking brands out there. Tail lights are from TacomaBeast.com. The tailgate has an insert from Mountain Hatch. It's like a cutting board surface. It's kind of nice. When we were doing overland trips with our little babies, it was actually really nice to change them on this surface instead of the bumpy tailgate thing. So that was one of the motivations behind this. And it's kind of gross, but we would also cook from there. But
After it was cleaned.
After it was cleaned, of course. I also have a bed slide in here. Beer cans in there, I think. Exhaust is an MBRP 3-inch catback exhaust that's pretty much rusted out right after the muffler. I need to replace it. I'd actually like to get something a little bit quieter. I do think it's one of the best sounding exhausts for this truck, but maybe I'm growing old. I just don't like to listen to it while we're driving long distance. So it's funny how it goes. I'd love like the TRD Pro exhaust and then just cut it under the bed. I think that would sound perfect. The inside has some accent pieces from Tough Skins. They're just little sticker deals that we stick in there, and that's kind of cool looking. And we have this what would you call this thing? This accessory mount from Expedition Essentials, and they're located in Washington State, and they're really, really good people. If you ever get a chance to buy something from those guys, they're awesome. I'm so happy to support them. They don't pay me anything to say that. I just think they're cool people. That is like a phone mount. We use it as a camera mount, and it has a speed charger on it. As far as interior mods, that's about it. I'd like to do a few other things to it. I want to get some leather seat covers. It's really, really dirty in here because we just had steel doors on for a while, and it let a lot of dirt in. It was pretty nasty. What more could I tell you? I can't think of much else. Oh, there's an AFE air intake on the inside here, and obviously it's pretty messy in here. We kind of could use a makeover. The whole truck could use a little bit of a makeover, but this isn't just like an Instagram truck. I mean, we do post on Instagram a lot, but it is it's a fun truck that we use the hell out of, and we abuse it. And I highly encourage you guys to check out the previous video where I talk about everything we've broken on this truck, because it's a long list. I think we were up over 20 things, and a lot of those things had broken multiple times. And but yeah, it's just a beautiful, sweet little truck. Look at that, that's cool. I could get that picture. Alright, thumbnail time.
The pain inside, don't wanna feel it. Yeah. So I pour up inside my cup and I just sip till I can't feel it. Ooh. I know it won't solve my problem, but I know it makes a difference. One more sip and I'ma fix it. Out my body when I'm tempted. I told her one more, she hear me say you quit or she dipping.
Really cool rocks up here. Like, I don't know what that is. It's almost like some kind of granite or quartz. It's sharp, really hard. Smoke is kind of cool though.
It looks cloudy, but it's still super hot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like a quartz. Something like that.
Cool rocks.
It's a cool rock.
Found cool rocks. Cool rocks.
All I ever wanted was some children. Then I got 4 of them kids and now we chillin'. Nothing's real inside, don't wanna feel it. So I pour up inside my cup and I just sip till I can't feel it. I know it won't solve my problem, but I know it makes a difference. One more sip and I'ma fix it. Out my body when I'm tempted. I told her one more and she heard me say you quit or she dipping.